Prevent premature aging.
Okay, hang on. Ready?
You on live?
Okay, we are live right now. So let's tweet out the link.
Do you want me to stop screen sharing?
No, you're good. Just leave your.
I'll leave it like that.
All right. Just fired out the tweet. We're gonna give it a retweet. Let the people know. Okay.
You want me to keep the screen share up?
Yeah, I'm not on you. I'm not on you right now. All right, well, let's kick it off here. It looks like we got some people popping in right now. So, guys, thank you for being here. This is Market Talk. Now, normally we do these on Twitter Spaces, but we are trying to move over to YouTube because we can provide you a much more elevated viewing experience. We can share charts, and you can see our faces, which, of course, is sometimes more fun than just listening to some voice behind the Twitter Spaces app. And we've been having a lot of technical difficulties with Twitter Spaces anyways. So anyways, guys, this is Market Talk. We're trying something new. Hopefully we're going to be spending a lot more time here. I am your host, or I guess co-host, Max, and I'm also joined by Tucker, who sitting right next to me, that handsome fellow there. Show him your hoodie, man. Show him the hoodie.
Oh yeah, I gotta show them the merch.
Yeah, that's nice stuff. But anyways, yeah, guys, so we are here today on YouTube. We're going to show some charts, talk about what we're seeing, and just generally have some fun. Now, I would encourage all of you, if you guys are new here and you don't know who we are, maybe you're seeing this on Twitter because we blasted it out. We are Because Bitcoin. We're a financial media company with a very heavy emphasis on digital assets, specifically Bitcoin. I'd say our main objective is really education above all else. We're a group of traders. We all have a background in trading, whether it's equities or crypto. And we honestly just love doing this every single day and just covering what's going on in the markets and sharing our experience. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, checking us out. We're making a much more sizable financial and time investment in YouTube. So a lot more videos. You can expect one every single day, probably multiple every single day, whether it's a live stream or pre-recorded video. And then also, if you could just help us out, click that thumbs up button for us, click the like button. It really helps with the algo. So I've been told. I don't really know how YouTube works quite yet, but apparently the like button is very important. So anyways, let's kick it over to Haggard. We kind of joked about this earlier. We got a bunch of people up on the panel here today, man. We got to get through everybody. So we got me and you. Let's kick it over to you, Tucker. What's going on, man? What are you seeing in the markets?
Yeah, man. It's great to be on YouTube here with you, Max. And I'll be brief because I know we've got a lot of panelists here. So, can you see my chart all right?
Let me move over there. Hang on just a second. Oh, the Iron Curtain, huh?
Oh yeah, that's where we're starting with the Iron Curtain, boys.
All right.
All right, yeah. So just on a super basic level, I've had this drawn out for a good long time. basically the S&P has been stuck under this level, this basically 4,200 level since what is that, May of last year. So for about a year, we've only gotten wicks above, right? We haven't been able to close any months above 4,200. Um, well, I guess 4,180. If I make this a little bit smaller, we can see that we actually did close May just above the Iron Curtain, which if you're bullish or if you're neutral and you're looking to take a side, this is a quite a bullish monthly close in my opinion, especially with this big long wick. So um, yeah, I just wanted to start on the monthly with that, but I guess broad overview what we saw today. We saw the VIX catch a bid and then get crushed a little bit. If I pop over there, um, get rid of that. Yeah, so I mean, we caught a little bit, vol crushed again. That's just been the regime, right? Since definitely since March, but even before we had this big spike, I mean, we VIX has been just destroyed all year. So no change there yet. I do expect at some point we will get a decent VIX bid and some hedging happening, but until something until this regime changes, that's just kind of the dynamic. So obviously how that related with SPY was let's see this
Why
thing
did
is
you
in my
name it the Iron Curtain? It sounds so like sounds so menacing, like it's about to chop your head off or something.
well, I'm pretty sure that's what they called the what was it, the wall in Berlin in World War II. I'm pretty sure it was called the Iron Curtain or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, sounds familiar. Yeah.
I think it. No, 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 no. It was like the Soviet, red countries. It was like an Iron Curtain. I don't know. You guys can hop on Google and figure that out. But I'm pretty sure I'm right on
Yeah.
that.
All
It
right.
was like this impenetrable wall. So obviously we've seen that
Are you
penetrated
talking
now.
about the Iron Dome in Israel, the missile defense system?
No, 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 no. Wait.
I don't want to get sidetracked here. We're here to talk about the market, but
I know. Hang on. I'm gonna pull it up and I'll drag it over there. Okay. So let's see. Okay, the Iron Curtain was the political boundary dividing Europe into two separate areas from the end of World War II in 1945 until the end of the Cold War in 1991. Yeah, so
so there's
uh,
basically some sort of war happening at 4200 is what you're trying to convey by calling it the
yeah,
Iron Curtain. Okay. Oh, that's
yeah.
fair.
So basically,
Okay.
yeah. So this is just the war zone, right? Obviously, we've seen on the monthly like wick. This was a wick until we just closed above it. So this is a bullish close, I have to say. I mean, you could make the line a little bit thicker, obviously, and you could say, oh, I don't know, it's kind of close, but I would count it. I would count it as a close above on the monthly, which is a big deal. So, um, but yeah, just some other dynamics we saw. I mean, obviously, we're looking looking red across the board, but it wasn't a terrible close, honestly. I had some levels around, let's see. Let's get rid of the Iron Curtain for now. And yeah, so we filled this gap, right? We filled this gap back from August of last year. Oh my God, my cat. I'm so sorry. uh, and let's see here. We held where we needed to, right? I had this value area drawn right here. We didn't quite tap it, but we did hold where we needed to. So that's encouraging. But it from here it does look good for upside. Honestly, if I were to lean one direction or the other, it does look good for upside.
I would agree with that. I
Right?
look, it
Like,
looks like I tweeted this out not too long. I mean, right before we hopped on here. In my opinion, it looks like vertical accumulation. We saw ETH do it right before it had that crazy spastic move to 2100. We just saw QQQ do it a couple weeks ago before its crazy move that, basically we're at right now. And I've been very focused personally on the August 2022 high. If you just mark out on all the major indexes, the August 2022 high, yeah, look at that. Wow.
Yeah, let's just put
I
it
mean,
down
it's
below.
it's not going to be perfect, right? But it's pretty dang close. And
Yeah, it's like we're in here somewhere,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, it's a very similar. It looks like it's about to break down. Every single like sell off or higher low, it appears to be more aggressive than the last one, and it certainly feels like it's over every single time there's a drop. But when
I
you
guess the contention is what we're like red in here,
yeah, yeah,
probably.
so somewhere around there. Let me see if I still have it saved up here. Hang on, just one moment. Actually, I'm gonna jump over to mine quick. Um,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
so
Should I stop the screen share?
no, I got it on my end. It's all good. So this is, I mean, this is basically what I'm expecting over here. So we start both of these are the August highs right here. So I've been very focused on the August high on both. And reason being is we saw the Dow very early on take out its August high. Oops. We saw the Dow take out its August high very, very early on. I mean, it actually took it out at the end of last year. I mean, the Dow was the leader off of the bottom that was formed basically September, October of last year. So let's head back over here. I mean, the similarities are striking in my opinion. I mean, it's pretty apparent that this is something that we should at least be paying attention to, where more or less everything the major indexes have taken out their August 2022 highs. SPY has been lagging, but just because it's lagging doesn't mean it's not going to. This to me looks very, very similar to QQQ right before it popped off. See if we can get it to just look nice. Yeah, that's pretty close without cutting off the move. Where it's like you see these aggressive drops, so every drop is so aggressive, so aggressive. That one looked, really aggressive while it was happening. I remember that one. And of course, it ends up recovering quite nicely. But then ultimately, what do you see? You finally see a sustained breakout, and then you're kind of left behind. So what are we seeing right here, right? Very aggressive drop off. Very aggressive drop off. It's over. Oh, it's over again today. Oh, it looks terrible. Like local top, and it just doesn't make it just doesn't end up breaking these lows. It's like we just kind of end up stair stepping up, just like we did over here, and then eventually you're kind of off to the races. So in my opinion, this is pretty damn close to vertical accumulation, and it's something that we saw. This is Ethereum now. Ethereum, again, my base case has been that Ethereum has more or less been leading QQQ and Nasdaq um, this entire time. This area to me right here, this feels like what's happening with SPY. And we saw this move happen on QQQ. See this vertical accumulation right here? I think you can make a case, and no guarantees, right? But I think you can make a case that this is coiling and we're about to see some sort of pop similar to what Ethereum did, but over on the S&P 500. So we'll see. We will certainly see. I don't think we're going to have to wait that long to find out, but I don't mind it. And for that reason, I haven't bought any. I was looking at some options today. I didn't love the pricing on them. I was looking like 2 to 4 weeks out. I didn't really like them. I didn't think there was enough. I didn't think there was enough room to the upside. Truthfully, I'd rather just buy some shares of SPY or something like that and put a little bit more capital behind it, just so I don't have to really deal with the fussiness or the sensitivity of options. But I did pick up some long exposure. Our Discord knows all about that. Oops, guess I should probably put that back over there. Our Discord knows about that. But yeah, anyways, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, if ES makes a move up at 4100 or something, and actually let me just pull up. There's a weekly gap in the chart right up here at 435, 436. If we do get some sort of crazy blow off top style of move like we saw QQQ make, I think there's a possibility. I think there's a possibility we could tag like 435. I really do. I'm not ruling it out, not at all. So I'm pretty interested in seeing what happens next, but this is not something that at this point in time, at this position in the chart, I'd be interested in fading. I mean, I think it's got some catching up to do to QQQ. Yeah, anyways, Tucker, I can kick it back to you, man.
What just to follow up, what would you technically need to see to, I guess you said you didn't want to get long options to buy shares, right? Like, do you want to see this gap flipped? Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I was thinking about doing it this afternoon. Let me go back to mine. I don't know if it's like a level for me where I need to see it flip. In my opinion, it's more about I need to see a level not break. So
Hmm.
let me let me go back here. Let me pull up ES. For me, it's really about seeing these lows here protected. I wouldn't want to see us below this level right here. I would just want to see our market structure remain intact. I can remove this. So just as long as we're continuing to coil and these lows remain sort of unbreached, we could call it. I think it's a decent. It's easy in validation, so it's really less about like we need to move up to a certain level and more we need to stay above a level below us. So I mean, I was thinking about buying some today at the close. I already have some exposure, through crypto. I think it's just a little bit easier for me to stomach right here. I can justify it more,
Hmm.
and I think I have more of an edge in crypto. But I mean, if these lows remain protected, I don't really see a problem at all. I would buy it here, and my stop would basically be like 4,100, and it wouldn't be like a hard stop. Like I wouldn't want to get taken out on like a gap down or like a stop loss run, but it'd be like a 4 to 12 hour close below this level right here. So yeah, I mean on SPY that would translate over to, yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't want to see us below like this level. Oops. See if I can get this to work. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know, just like 410, 408, 410. So yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
What what other you want to check out IWM real quick, or I'm looking at it too, but
Yeah, yeah, you got it. I'll kick it back to you here.
yeah, just because I'm thinking like we were talking about earlier, and like I mentioned a little bit on our premium Discord call, um, I think if we are going to get a rally up in SPY, I think you're going to get led, not led, but you're going to get outperformance from the Russell, um, because you're going to need a. I hate this phrase, but you're going to get a breadth thrust. And because the stocks that are keeping the SPY up right now are the ones that are, the same ones that are making QQQ just go up in a straight line. So if you're going to get a push in SPY, I think you're going to need um, some capital from other sectors, other stocks than just tech. So I think in that case, you're going to need, or you're going to get some outperformance from IWM. I'm sorry, my cat is being annoying, but I was talking. We were on a call earlier, and we were kind of mapping this out. And you said you were looking at these lows, and I was telling you like it lined up so well with this value area low right here. Right, you get boom, boom, like this. That's probably an automatic bid right here, at least for a little mean reversion to the
What, what
point
would
of
you what
control.
would you think about something like this? I look at that and I
But
say, oh,
yeah, I mean, I just had this. Hang on, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I think we lagged there. I think we were lagging for a second. I was going to ask you a question there. I look at that and I say, okay, we just went over the S&P 500, and I think there's a I'd say maybe I'm 50-50 on it right now. I think I'm about 50-50 probability that we could take out that August 2022 high and put in, not as aggressive of a move like the Nasdaq did, but enough to really convince some people that like this is the start of a new bull market. And I guess for all we know, it could be. It's not my base case, but my thought is that if we see this rotation and we see some profit taking in QQQ, there's going to be people chasing beta. And I think a lot of that's going to pour into IWM or small cap individual names, kind of like you're talking about here. For me, that value area low that you have pulled up there right at 170, for me, if price gets there, it's going to appear like we are sitting on the edge of a cliff. But that value area low or range low has been holding basically since, I mean, it looks like the end of last year. We've been consolidating there forever. We've been stuck in this tight range. If we move down to 170, I would think it's a decent opportunity to throw like a half size bid at it. And then if we flip 180, which is on our lower time frame, can you go down to like the 4 hour maybe? So then if we flip that 180 level, so bid 170 with half size, we flip 180, you could hit a compound there. Then you can potentially entertain a move up to 200 plus. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. So first bid would be down there, at value area low. If we see S&P 500 make that move towards 4350, 4400, there's very little doubt in my mind that you're going to see the Russell outperform just about everything. Because I think, again, people are just going to be chasing beta like crazy.
Yeah, no, I think if you get one more little deviation here, I think you can at least expect a top side deviation over here, and I think that's probably your second bid. And then I have this super normie trend line drawn. Obviously, like we could go take out these highs or these highs, but I think I would probably look to like TP up here somewhere. But I mean, even still, you're looking at like 195. What is that? Like a 16% move, especially if you hit it with some calls. I mean, that's a juicy setup, especially if we get a soft CPI print. Maybe we dump into CPI because of some of these liquidity headwinds that we're facing. They're gonna have to refill the TGA. That's gonna be a liquidity drain on markets. So I think if we do get kind of a dump into, or not a dump, even just like chop sideways into CPI, and we get a nice soft print, maybe we get some dovish rhetoric from Powell signaling a pause at the next, meeting. I think that is full green light to get long. Probably small caps is where you want to get long, because at this point, I know a lot of people are probably thinking like we are and don't really see the RR and getting long tech at like, 400 on Nvidia or whatever it's at, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think
Well, see,
the
you
RR.
bring up a good point where it's like we know that. Here's my question for you. Has this bullish momentum that we've been seeing over the past, let's just say, month or so, in your opinion, is this indicative of the market front running the inevitable pause that likely happens sometime maybe this summer or just after? Or is this unrelated and we still have plenty of juice left if we do get that pause?
I think it's a combination of that and the debt ceiling issue, right? I think that like the debt ceiling resolution was pretty much fully front run because they kind of struck a deal over the weekend. Like it hasn't been voted on yet, obviously, but um, it was basically announced that a deal was in place over the weekend, and then we saw um, a pretty muted response from the market on like just this week so far. Like we didn't get some face ripper to the upside on the debt ceiling resolution. So I think a lot of that move was probably priced in. That being said, like I think the pause rally, like I mean, we have been going straight up all year, so it does make you wonder how much upside is left if we do get a pause. I mean, I think we will get upside, right? I think maybe that's the catalyst to get SPY up to its August highs, and maybe we deviate and then that's it, right? But I don't know. I don't think the market is as forward looking as we give it credit for sometimes. Um, because it's like with like Nvidia and some of these other AI tech stocks, right? It's like, is it so forward looking that it's looking past a probable recession, or is it like just forward looking to a pause? It's hard to figure out exactly how forward looking the market is, but I think the debt ceiling was definitely priced in, and I think a pause is at least partially priced in just from what we've seen so far this year. I mean, given we were due for some mean reversion, for sure after 2022, but um, I don't think it's going to be like I mean, a double top on the S&P would just be wild. Like I don't know if we could get a double top, right? I mean, that's another like what, like 15%. I guess the real blow off in my head is if we could deviate like 4,600, right? Like the March highs of last year. Like that would be
Yeah.
a real face ripper blow off.
And here's my thought though is I want to talk about how this potentially translates over to crypto
Yeah.
because when I look at the chart, the title of Market Talk today is it's a must hold area. And I think there's a lot of truth to that where a very effective strategy for me over the years has been identifying a spot where it's over either direction, up or down, whichever side is wrong. If they're wrong here, like we're going to find out really soon. In my opinion, this 27K area is a must hold for the bulls. And I also think there's some time sensitivity to it. But as I'm watching the S&P 500 coil here, and we just discussed how it appears to be vertical accumulation, similar to what ETH did before it's moved to 2100, and at the same time, similar to QQQ a couple weeks ago, I'm looking at Bitcoin here. It looks a little bit weak, but we're sitting right on top of support. And actually, I'm going to share my screen now.
Yeah.
Let me. Okay, here's Bitcoin. We're going to start on the monthly time frame. Price has been basically playing ping pong between these monthly inefficiencies. So we're just going to do a little study here first, actually. Okay, we're going to start here just because I want to give you guys some context. All right. I don't want to just say it, I want to show you. So when we bottomed, the FTX capitulation bottom. Oops, let me pull this back up. Sorry, I keep forgetting I got to keep that there. Um, we bottomed basically right within the middle of this monthly inefficiency, right down here at just sub 16K. So let's go down to the daily time frame. We'll take a closer look at it. I've got it circled. You can see that right off of the EQ of this monthly FVG, we formed this bottom, we consolidated, we had a massive push up. Okay. Now let's remove this one. We'll put up the next one. The USDC FUD. Why is it moving these around here? All right, next one. We had the Silicon Valley Bank debacle and USDC FUD. We did the exact same thing. We fired right into this monthly inefficiency. Here it is right here. I'll move that. We fired right into the middle of this monthly inefficiency. And then look what happened. We got sucked right back up. And that was a very quick reaction, of course. It was catalyzed by the Fed basically stepping in and backstopping Silicon Valley Bank. And of course, the sell-off happened because USDC, I believe, had about 5% of their reserves in Silicon Valley Bank. So the thought was, well, now USDC, instead of being worth 1-to-1 with the dollar, is actually worth 95 cents on the dollar. What are the implications for crypto? So of course, the resolution there, but it's kind of like, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. It's like, what are the odds that we get some relief right at the mid range of this monthly inefficiency? Well, you tell me. Here's where we are currently, right inside this monthly inefficiency, bouncing again, just like the previous two monthly inefficiencies, right below the 50 fib, or right below the mid range. So I'm looking at this going, all right, we bounced right where we needed to. We're looking structurally pretty good here. And then right above us, we have our last monthly inefficiency to the upside. From basically the mega bear market of last year. And then right within that, we've got a CME gap, Bitcoin future CME gap. I'm looking at this going, okay. Looks kind of weak, like I don't know what this little like formation or like little structure is right here. I feel like we should be breaking down. We're kind of just chopping. Market seems a little bit indecisive, but at the same time, we just discussed that the S&P 500 is coiling. It appears to be vertical accumulation, in my opinion. Let's just say hypothetically ES rallies up. Let's look at SPY. Let's just say that SPY rallies from here and puts in a move to fill this last gap in up at 435-ish. We won't entertain higher. We'll just take it like trade by trade. Okay, so that's a 5% move. What would that imply for Bitcoin? Well, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it would probably imply something right up here. I mean, literally a 25% explosive move. We'd fill in that CME gap. We'd fill in about half of that monthly inefficiency above us. And again, it loves the 50 line. It loves that mid range of the monthly inefficiency. Um, so I would be looking at that level. I know it seems crazy and it seems really high. Um, but I mean, look, if we can hold here and we get some bullish momentum in equities, I don't see why Bitcoin can't at least dip into it. Maybe it doesn't go to the CME gap, but I wouldn't be surprised to see us move up here and take out these highs. My opinion, it's a time thing. We should have broken down by now. And I guess we still have the opportunity as well, but from where I'm sitting, I mean, we had an opportunity today. I mean, look at this sell-off. Like we're starting to hold here on the low time frames. It's starting to look like we're about to do something like this, like kind of like range here and then finally break out, maybe we like form range high. I don't know. And then come back up. This is deviation. I don't know. It's we'll have to wait and see, but it doesn't feel like we're about to imminently break down right now, especially with some of the momentum that I am anticipating in the equity markets. So I'm leaning bullish on crypto here. It's not a rally that I want to own necessarily for the long term. I think we'll get some cheaper opportunities, later this year. But I think at least in the short term, structurally it looks intact. Structurally it looks good. Um, and at the same time, I think there's going to be some cross asset class contagion. There's certain equities that are ripping like crazy. I think it looks pretty damn good. At the same time, ETH looks fine as well, sitting right in this right inside this daily inefficiency. Um, See, this is where ETH would go, but it's like we're talking about seemingly crazy prices at this point. Like if I were to tell you ETH's going to go to 2,600, you'd be like, what are you talking about? We're sitting at 1865 right now. We're just chopping here. So I don't know if maybe that happens after a pause or maybe we don't actually make it there. But if we're just looking at like playing ping pong or inefficiencies, maybe a more realistic target would be like a sweep of the highs or something like that. But anyways, just some thoughts. Like I just don't think it just doesn't seem super. It just doesn't seem super ready to pull back in my opinion. Not at this point. And just a quick reminder for everybody listening, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. We're going to be spending a lot more time on YouTube. If you guys could help us out and just hit that like button, it just takes a second. Rumor has it it's very good for the YouTube algo. So very much appreciated. And then for those that are watching live, you probably see in the bottom right corner there's a banner. We're running a Memorial Day sale on our premium Discord. We do about an hour of premium content per day, live voice chats with me and Tucker, the entire Because Bitcoin team. We kind of do like private versions of these calls, basically what you're seeing right now. But they're, while the market's open, you guys can talk with us, ask us questions, you guys can share things. It's really become a bit of a hive mind. So again, it's free. It's free for a week, so you can check that out in the description below. But yeah, anyways, Tucker, those are my thoughts
Mac,
on crypto, man.
do you have the halvings marked out on a long-term Bitcoin chart?
I think so. Let me give me one moment. I think I have it on.
Because I'm just looking at the kind of the bottoming range from like January to November in 2015. Hang on, let me deal with my cat real quick. But yeah, let me see if you got that.
Yeah, I got it pulled up.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. Okay, okay. All right, we're back. Yeah, do you have them marked out like throughout the whole chart?
Yes, I can you see that? I've got it pulled up right now. Should be.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop the screen share to see it. Is that work?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let's see. Oh wait, I can't see yours though, so
Okay.
it's all good. Just tell me. I'm gonna screen share again. Okay. Let me. Where was the halving in 2015?
Um, the halving in 2015 was July, like early part of July.
July. Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, because I'm just looking at sorry, my cat is in the way.
No,
Uh
he's a cute cat man. He wants to be on camera.
I know, I know. Can you see my chart?
Yeah, let's pull you up here. Yep, go for it. We got you.
Okay, so it's not perfect, and I tried to play with a bar pattern, but it doesn't really work because Bitcoin was $200 back here, so it just doesn't really play.
Yeah.
But I love this oscillator I use down here. But I'm just thinking it's not gonna be perfect, and we didn't get like the 3 drive, but I'm looking for this sometime before the halving.
So you're talking about like
Just
one
something.
more scare.
Yeah, one more scare, and it doesn't even have to be a lower low, but just something like that. So what I could see like with where we're at now is like maybe a drive into right what you see 35-ish K, like the gaps like around there. What I'd look for is something like that, and then I don't know if this is timing. That's October, yeah. And then we kind of chop here, and then we get a flush, and maybe it's not that low, and then we get going, right? But at this point, I'm a bidder of spot of anything in the low 20s, probably.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to be waiting for new lows or anything like that, but I think if we do get a third drive just from like a probable pause rally and we do get equities, we do kind of get that like blow off for that final push up on SPY and IWM and all those. I think we could maybe go tag 35K, but I think that's probably it. Just from where we are around the halving, because that's the other thing, right? Is like every halving cycle, it's longer from when the halving occurs to when the bull run begins. If that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate. So, the halving is going to be next May. Um, so let's just mark that out. When is next May? Next May, right? There's the halving. So, I would expect the bull market to probably start like Q3 of next year. So we're probably still a year out from it. So I feel like we're just going to probably chop until then. In the immediate term, I agree. I think we could get a third drive, but I think we'll end up getting a chance to bid back down here. I think this wick right here will most likely get taken, right? I think probably 20K you'll get a chance to bid again, but um that's kind of your must hold level right here is these wicks, right? Like you got to hold 26 basically, because if you don't, you're looking at like kind of a full rounded top Bart type of action. um so that's kind of the must
Can
hold
you
for
draw a horizontal line from like May of last year at like roughly 18K? Like
May of
right
last
there,
year.
like a little bit lower maybe. Yeah, like right,
Oh,
like
like
yeah.
those.
I
Yeah,
Can you make that a little like brighter and thicker?
yeah, I got you.
Okay. So I
I
would
see.
think that maybe we could put in like a retest of that level, something like
Yeah,
that. I'd
yeah.
truthfully I'd like to see the FTX range low taken out because I think it would be one of the more predatory moves of all time in the history of predatory moves. The only one that
Big
might be more predatory than that was the 69K double top just because it timed out so well that even the most pessimistic investors or observers of Bitcoin were thinking that we were probably going to six figures after that, and we basically just took out the previous high. But
Yeah.
we've talked about how charts they really demand symmetry, and I want to just put this out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see something kind of like we saw, over the double top, put in some sort of double bottom. I I, I will not rule it out.
One of those. How
E,
would that look? It would be something like that.
you might
Yeah.
have to fit it a little differently. Yeah, I'm just saying, like I don't think many people thought we were gonna have a double top. I remember I actually have a meme saved to my phone. Like it was kind of funny. It's that meme of the little kids like sitting in front of his computer, and then the picture above is like the pregnant woman like drinking and smoking, and it's like this doesn't affect my baby, and then it's like 12 years later, and it's a kid
Yeah.
drawing a double top pattern of a Bitcoin chart. At the time, I thought it was hilarious, but it turns out that kid was right. But I think that I think it's possible. I don't know exactly if it'll have to be catalyzed by something, or maybe it's just like a time-based capitulation. But I think, look, I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin going into the halving. I think there's going to be a run up, a really explosive one in 2024. Um, but again, I think there are some inefficiencies that probably will get backfilled a little bit lower than here.
Talking about some of this action.
Well, let's just say I'm not talking about it. All right, I'm just I think it's I think it's pertinent to acknowledge that it's there.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, look, we're sitting at 27-1. It's hard to with a straight face be like, yep, we're going to like 10K or something like that. But
Yeah.
if it were only up to traders and it had nothing to do with like sentiment or adoption or having cycles or anything else, yeah, I mean, if the market was entirely dictated by traders, we would backfill the remaining inefficiencies. But that also is not the case. There's far more complex narratives that move the market. I mean, yeah, that's like your perfect retest would be like a dip below that.
Yeah. Your 2019 high.
That's your textbook perfect retest. But it's like, also look where we are. What's going to take us there? Like
Yeah.
what would really take us there? We had FTX go under, and we couldn't really even break 16K. I know we spent like a second below it, but we'll round and we'll say 16K. So
Yeah. You were a big proponent of that 2023 yearly open, which was what, 16K?
uh yeah, basically. I mean, we more or less have like a flat bottom candle right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got some bear charts I can certainly share. Let me
Yeah. Wow. If you put it on the 12-month, I mean, it literally, there's no wick. It is a flat bottom.
Yeah, I mean it's a flat bottom.
16
People don't like
points.
to talk about it, but it's a flat bottom. So
I mean, the only other kind of flat bottom candle is 2013. Every other one has a wick. Every single one. So
yeah, I mean here I'm gonna share my screen. And by the way, you know, take it with a grain of salt. We're here just talking about different scenarios. These aren't predictions or anything. So I got mine up right now. Um, I mean this is basically what I'm looking at right here. This would be kind of it. Where I mean this it takes into account sentiment as well. Where again it doesn't have to play out like this, right? We're just entertaining every possible scenario and trying to come up with plan A, B, C, D, whatever. It's like here when we were at when we crashed from 64 down to 28. It's like, oh, that was it, that was your top, cycle's over. And then we come back here and it's like, oh, we're going to 200K, plan B was right, like Bitcoin came back from the dead. And then we break all the way down and we were just sitting at 31K. Everyone's like, "Oh, global bull markets, it's back. We're going straight up, new bull market halvings in 1 year's time." And then, if we go down, we double bottom, what's ever going to be saying down here? If Bitcoin makes a new low, oh, we were never supposed to go back down. The FTX lows were supposed to be a deviation. Like, wow, Bitcoin truly is dead. Peter Schiff was right. And then guess what? We move on to, 100 or 200K or something like that. So it's about sentiment, it's just like kind of coming up with plans and, whatever. Let me see if I got another one here. No, we just talked about that one. Give me 1 second. I think I got one more. Give me one more here. I've got so many like here this is my favorite one right here. This would be the most extreme scenario.
What do you got to go into?
You can't see this, can you?
No, I can't see any of
This
it.
would be the most extreme scenario, by the way, guys. We're looking at some high time frame setups. It's take it with a grain of salt. Like it's hard to forecast out like this far. What would happen, but um, here, Haggard, I'm gonna send you a picture of it. I know we got to figure out how you can see this while
Yeah.
we're going here, but let me send you. Actually, I don't. All right, I'm having trouble. Anyways, I'll just explain it. But basically,
Yeah.
it would be a move up to like 35, 35K, and then a move all the way down to 13. And the reason being is it's just we've got two monthly inefficiencies there, so one above us and one way below us. So it's like I actually put out
Yeah,
a
let's
tweet
see
about it the
that.
other
I
day
see
where
that
it's
one at 13K.
say
Yeah.
say that again.
I see that one down there at 13K now. Yeah. That's juicy. I mean, we bouncing off one right now too, like 25. I'm looking at the monthly, but yeah, that one at that what EQ the mid at 35K exactly, which what lines up with that CME gap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, so I mean it's just it's a very extreme scenario. It's like it's certainly the most entertaining scenario. But I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. It's just I know we've got a lot of time before the halving. One thing I wanted to discuss was, I mean, if I don't know if people are like taking note of this, but the cost to produce one Bitcoin right now is, I think it's roughly like 23,000, give or take, depending on your location. But assuming that you're producing efficiently, I believe it's just over 20K. May of next year, the cost to produce a Bitcoin effectively doubles because the rewards get cut in half. So potentially this time next year, we'll be looking at a cost to produce one Bitcoin, at roughly break even price of like 30 to 35K. A fear that I have, which I think could potentially cause price to slide, would be if miners begin to front run the halving and they begin to forecast out, well, okay, the price to produce a Bitcoin in 3 months is going to go from 25 or 24K up to, I mean, basically double. Let's just round it and say let's just say like 35K or something like that. The cost to produce a Bitcoin this time next year will be 35K. Um, if we're sitting at 25K, 26K, part of me thinks that miners are going to rush to sell to stock up and basically just sit on cash reserves, anticipating that they're going to be running a deficit on their operation for quite some time. So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but there's part of me that thinks that miners might actually capitulate far later than initially anticipated. I remember hearing a lot of discussion about, yeah, Bitcoin's going to go down to 10K and it's going to be the miners that capitulate. And we did see some miners like really struggle. But I don't think I would call I don't think I would call what we saw true miner capitulation. So I'm looking at this going, all right. 1 year from now, the cost to produce a Bitcoin is going to be over 30K. If we're not damn near 30K, um, within like 3 4 months of the halving, I think the miners are gonna they're gonna bring us much lower. It's actually gonna kind of do the opposite of what they intend. Well, I mean, it is what they intend. They'll probably intend to raise cash, but what the real long term sustainable solution for them is they need the Bitcoin price to go up so that they are running a profitable operation. They need Bitcoin at 40, 50, 60K so that they've got 50% margins for mining. And of course, it's a moving equation. So we're just talking about it in its current state right now. Um, but that's one fear that I have that could actually make next year's Bitcoin having a bearish scenario, at least in the short term, where we could see some sort of like, serious, um, serious crisis or really heavy ask side come in and just basically flood the ask side of the books because miners have no choice but to just raise as much cash as they can because they're anticipating running a big deficit. So that's just one scenario that I'm entertaining. If we had one more scare before the next halving, maybe it's caused by miners um, forecasting that deficit. So
Yeah, no, I think something that would probably add to that is like a recession, right? Because I mean, every leading indicator I've seen, and I'm looking at the yield curve, and I'm looking at the most aggressive rate hiking cycle in 40 years, right? Like, be what is Powell said? Like, beware the long and variable lags of monetary policy, right? So I think a lot of these rate hikes are probably going to end up hitting the economy in Q4, which should put a lot more pressure on both individuals and businesses. I'm looking at around that time where we could potentially see unemployment start to tick up. There's a whole recession case that is another video completely, but I think if we do get a recession Q4, Q1 of next year, that lines up pretty well with what you're talking about. And if we get the third drive to 35K, in the next few months on a pause rally, at that point, I don't know what's going to hold price there and or push it higher. And if you get, Powell out of the way, so bad news is bad news. You get the gloomy economic forecast. You get miners looking at what exactly you're seeing and being like, okay, we need to raise cash, right? That is a recipe for one more capitulation. And yeah, I mean, I think anywhere in the low 20s, teens, I'm a buyer. I don't know if we get a lower low, but I think that's probably your recipe because yeah, if the cost to produce doubles and is 40K, and we're in a recession, right? It's like, people are getting laid off. And I know this is like total bear scenario. So this could obviously not happen at all. But if it does, right, if we're in a recession and the miners are looking at this and they're like, all right, I don't know how we're going to get the price of Bitcoin above 40K so that we're in the green, they'll probably just start dumping and, look at their runway and, protect their bottom line. So, yeah, I agree with some of the other factors that I'm seeing going on. I think we're in for one more scare, but I think after that it's going to be off to the races. So, um,
I
I mean,
agree
I
with
think
that. I'm a spot buyer. Whenever that scare comes, for me, it's not going to be about trying to pick the absolute bottom. I might try to do if we get a scenario like that where we wick below the 2023 open. I would be very aggressive on margin. I would try to like really bottom tick that thing with some serious size, with very very tight risk. When it comes to long term spot purchasing, again I think later this year we will have lower prices, and I like some of those inefficiencies that are still above 20K. Just layering some spot bids. I mean, for me, even like I'm a big advocate of trading the CME futures gaps, just because if you go back and you study them, they've got such a ridiculously high hit rate, or fill rate. We've got a really nice one sitting at like just under 20K. I think if you're back in the teens at all, 19, still in the teens. I don't think it is a bad idea, at least personally, to just sort of dynamically DCA where like let's just say you wanted to buy 10 Bitcoin. What you could do is basically, buy your first Bitcoin at 20K, buy two Bitcoins at 18K, buy three Bitcoins at 16.5. You could layer it thicker, towards ultimately where you'd want to bid if you're so fortunate to be given that opportunity. So, um, it's funny we started off talking about how we were bullish, or leaning bullish, just given like what we're seeing with the technical structure and equities, um, but also very high time frame bearish. And I think it's an important juxtaposition of sort of where we're at, where I think it makes a lot of sense to still be very high time frame bearish or cautious here. Um, I'd say my main focus is playing the long bonds. Long bonds play right now. Everybody that listens to us on Spaces or is in our Discord, they know how I feel about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think in the short term, it's like anything can happen. What we were talking about in the beginning, where we were mapping out a scenario for Bitcoin to go to 30K plus, I still think that's extremely likely. As long as we can hold this level here and stop, not break down, I think there's certainly a path to that. You know, most certainly. But high time frame, it's like I don't want to just ignore some of like the high time frame headwinds as well, because I don't think it's just like melt up. Macro doesn't matter. Recession avoided somehow, some way. I think there will be a recession. I just think it's going to be much later than a lot of people, myself included, initially in thought, had thought. So
Yeah, no, if you want to it is funny how we kind of switch back and forth. It's like, yeah, I mean, I think we could see higher in the short term, but in general, I'm looking to spot buy and probably join you on some margin bottom ticking, later this year. But um yeah, I mean, I guess we probably don't really need to go through the whole bonds trade thesis. I mean, I'm sure most people know what we're talking about at this point, but
yeah,
yeah, what else are you looking at?
I'm really just focused on if we're going to get a little bit of isolated upside in crypto here, um, because I think this is sort of a must hold area. Truthfully, I think
Mhm.
I think this is the level. But beyond that, I'm really just focused on the S&P 500. I think that's going to be the trade. Truthfully, I'm eyeing down that August 2022 high for now. So
Are you a religious watcher of the total chart?
I do have it up right now.
Yeah, I got it up. I got all three up right now. I look at one, two, or Bitcoin dominance.
Yeah, all of the above, man. All the above.
The above. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking I could see total three continuing to slide a little. It doesn't look great from where I'm sitting, but
Yeah, total three has been it's looked the weakest for sure. Like it didn't have nearly as aggressive of an extension as Bitcoin or ETH did. So it's like it just goes to show it's like it's been Bitcoin and ETH season for a long time. I know there's been little windows of opportunity to play some alts that have run, but really, going back all the way until I mean, really like all of 2022, it has not been in your best interest to hold alts at all. I mean, they've just
yeah.
they've just bled against Bitcoin and ETH. So yeah, total three looks terrible. But of course, it's like there will come a time when, um, you're gonna be able to pick up a lot of your favorite like previous cycle alts, and they'll probably still pump. I think a big portion of my focus, going into next cycle will be accumulating new things that haven't had a cycle before, they haven't pumped before. But there's definitely a few names that I'm interested in accumulating that, are part of the total three, the total three market cap or total three makeup that I think will pump again, most certainly.
Yeah. Um Switch over to my screen share real quick if you would.
All good.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what I use for it's just a basic basic equation for I use it for altcoin dominance, right? So looking at this, it's kind of at a talk about must hold levels, right? I mean, this is kind of a a lot of air underneath this one. So I'm thinking either we get a little bit of a resurgence in altcoins and maybe get a little meaner version up here, or we really we really see a move down. So that's a 3 day time frame. So this is kind of more of a midterm, like month to 3 to 4 5 month outlook. But the altcoin dominance is really kind of sitting on the edge of a cliff right now. So um, definitely something to watch out for if you're bullish alts here. Yeah, what do you think about that chart?
It looks pretty toppy, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It looks like distribution up here.
Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it's a clean range, but it just looks like there's a big gap, a lot of air underneath us.
A lot of air. Yeah, I
A
mean
lot of air.
that was 2021 right here. So I mean, we haven't even really got like a true. I don't want to say we haven't gotten a true alt bear market because alts and the USD pairs have gotten destroyed, but I mean, I think against Bitcoin we really haven't. I mean, that's what this is telling me, kind of like I feel like a true alt bear market against their Bitcoin pairs would be like that, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I'd like a move like that, just a little bit more of a
Yeah.
reset. I mean, most things at the tail end of the bear market. I mean, most things should bleed back into Bitcoin. Alts will have their day again, but it doesn't make sense to take on that risk right now. Even if there is like mini alt seasons within, um, within a larger cycle or like a larger reset, um, Bitcoin should lead off the bottom anyways. So,
Yeah.
all right, well, Tucker, what do you think, man? That's kind of all I've got for today. What about you?
Yeah, no, me going into the altcoin dominance chart was really probably grasping at straws for stuff to bring up. So yeah, no, that's all I've got too.
All right, guys. Well, if you're here, thanks for tuning in. This was Market Talk. We tried to do this earlier for Market Check. We had a little bit of difficulty. We definitely had a little bit of difficulty getting the stream up and running earlier. So that was not fun. But I'm happy we got this to work. Hopefully, it sounded okay. Give us some feedback if it didn't sound right. We can still tweak the audio and things like that. But yeah, if you guys are new here, we're Because Bitcoin. We're a financial media company with a very heavy emphasis on digital assets. We're basically comprised of all traders, everybody that works for us, because Bitcoin has a background in investing, either in equities or crypto. We are also running a Memorial Day sale for our Discord. So you'll see in the bottom right of the stream here, premium Discord free 1 week trial. So feel free to give that a try. It's in the link down below. Again, it's 1 week free. Come hang out. Come say what's up. See if you like it. Hopefully you'll stay. But yeah, that's all we got for you today, guys. So thanks for tuning in. We are going to be doing these every single day now, either for Market Check at noon Eastern Time or Market Talk at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So guys, thanks as always. Take care. Oh, and please like and subscribe